The build-to-rent market's unique because of its focus on resident experience and focus around efficiency through design, operations and overall long-term use.
The need for it is so great. We have an availability and affordability issue in the UK. We need a lot of homes very quickly and they need to be affordable for all persons and all generations.
Designers and developers really have to focus on how efficient the building can operate, and that will really drive long-term income and capital growth for investors.
These guys will be owning this stuff for 25, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, as opposed to the normal house builder that perhaps builds something and then flips it to somebody and is then finished with that asset.
Challenges for developers in the build-to-rent space is generally at the moment competing for land, which is generally seen to be preferred around capital value for sale, and the overall operations angle, which is unknown to a lot of developers, is essentially really important for driving lease-up rates and ultimately driving an asset that's going to be attractive for residents and potential people to live there long-term.
It's a new market. It's something that there is no real historical data on, especially in this country. Some of the institutions that are doing it as well, it's very, very different than anything they've done before. And the models that they've built are based on assumptions that they've made. If these build-to-rent schemes are too expensive and the people that they're supposed to be targeting can't afford them, then there's going to be a huge problem in their appraisal. And they need to be very considerate about the materials that they're basically using, because those materials need to be durable. You know, it's about the longevity and the environmental impact of these decisions that they make at the very outset.
Key success factors for build-to-rent developers are around predictable and efficient costs through management, which will ultimately drive a realistic and achievable net operating income, which is the most important factor for investors in the current market.
We need to consider where we'll be in 25 years from now. Are we going to have a generation that has totally embraced build-to-rent and actually perhaps prefers living in a build-to-rent complex rather than actually owning their own house?
Engineered timber has a significant opportunity for the build-to-rent market in the UK. We've already seen it on a couple of developments in London, for example. The timber model has been able to unlock sites because of challenging ground conditions.
It's fast construction, and that's good for the build-to-rent model because we need to build quickly.
For example, being able to build taller in the lighter material that engineered timber offers.
The sustainability factor, the embodied carbon, the fact that organisations want to use it because it's such an important sustainable product.
And ultimately, the predictable and efficient nature of spans and overall structural grid that engineered timber can align itself with really does position engineered timber to be the material of choice for build-to-rent developers.
The build-to-rent market and modular will have a strong relationship going forward into the future.
The nature of the product that build-to-rent developers are looking for, standardized layouts for 1, 2s and 3-bed apartments, lends itself to off-site solutions such as engineered timber.
The fact that it is quick construction, the fact that it is safer construction, it's quality construction, all play huge parts in why I think it will have a huge impact.
Developers are looking for a rational, standardized layout that will be able to be delivered efficiently on site with very little chance of cost and program overruns, which are absolutely pivotal to the build-to-rent financing model. The best example of build-to-rent and timber aligning is the Dalston Lane scheme, designed and developed by Walthamstow Architects, which overcame significant structural challenges to utilize timber for more floors and ultimately more density. The well-being agenda is very much coming to the fore in a number of developments. The big focus for developers around providing accessible landscaping, gyms on site, and ultimately developments that are within close proximity of public transport is really driving a healthy lifestyle that renters are going to be needing in the future.
The methods of judging sustainability and well-being need to learn more about the engineered timber market world. So the two worlds meet in the middle and understand each other better so that people are informed about how engineered timber can improve their well-being. And those corporations and institutions that embrace carbon offsetting and embody carbon and those materials that were made in a sustainable way and that can be disposed of in a sustainable way and that contribute to people's health and well-being will have a competitive advantage over those that don't.
The future of build to rent in the next 20 years is really an exciting one for the millennial generation of tomorrow. Designing for efficiency and specification that's going to last long term is a real separation from the traditional build for sale market, which is all about an exit route. This is about holding the asset, maintaining it and operating it for the long term, and for the resident to have a superior experience than the buy for let market.
The need for build to rent has never been more important. The bottom line is we have an availability of housing crisis in the UK, and that needs fixing, and there's lots of brave organisations and corporations and institutions stepping up to try and fix that.